Welcome back to the UPRAWR Podcast. Today's guest is myself, Chris Turner. We're going to be talking a bunch about my career, where it started, where I'm at now. It's a wild ride. I hope you enjoy.
First question then is just how did you get started in music and why are you so good at drumming? Like, there's a lot of people that get started and start to play, but
it's so weird when I hear people say that because I genuinely, because I can do what I do, I just assume everyone can do it.
yeah, here's the fake modesty.
No,
you're sick.
I know that within metal, what I do is like, I'm all right at metal sort of thing, but I know I'm very aware that there's a million other scenarios where I'd be eaten alive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been to artist events for my sponsors and stuff, and they've been like, "Oh, does anyone want to come up and have a rip?" And I'm like, not right now, not on that drum kit in this environment. Like, we was at Ronnie Scott's for this event. I was like, no chance. No, I'm aware that in metal I'm all right, but I still genuinely think that because I've learned it, I think anyone can learn it as well. It's like, as you know, I'm a rock climber. Whenever I approach like a climb that looks really difficult, I always think like, oh, it's impossible. And then if I get through the crux or if I complete it or whatever, if I work it, the first thing I think is, oh, it's not that bad. It's because you've done it, sort of thing. So with my drumming, I'm always like, well, because I've done it, I'm like, it's not that bad. Genuinely.
That's a fair comment, man.
I think it's just like, I don't know. There's
like my sort of thought process, not that I've got anything that I'm particularly like, I'm so good I can put this on the internet, but like, it's just like, if somebody else can do it, it's possible.
Exactly. No,
so you might as well just try.
100%, yeah. Like, because I don't really believe in the word talent either. I think that's kind of like a made up word. I think you just, if you want to learn something, you just work hard at it. Practice, and you'll get it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like anyone that's good at anything just was born good at it. Like, everybody sucked at that thing once. Do you know what I mean? Like, the world's best anyone sucked when they started.
Yeah.
So I kind of, that's my view on it. But thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. How did I get started? Man, I was a kid. I was quite literally 4 years old. I went to see my dad play a show. My dad played drums, and it was an open air festival, and he hadn't even started playing yet. He was just line checking the kick drum. And like little 4-year-old me, it pretty much like knocked me over, the air of the sub and everything. And I was just like, I need to do that. I mean, I didn't say that as a 4-year-old, but I was like, I have got to do that. That is badass. He's filled this whole place. He's like the king of this place right now. So yeah, he got a stage and I said, can you teach me how to drum? He said, hell yeah. And nothing changed. Literally nothing changed.
So you've just been consistently doing it since literally you were 4?
Yeah. If I'm honest, the only time that I kind of fell out of love with it was when I went to college for music. That was the only
That'll do it for you.
That was the only time when I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. This kind of sucks.
I think going to college for anything makes you question whether it's actually any fun.
You know, it was valuable though. I feel like you kind of have to have that phase with like anything that you love. Like you have to kind of fall out with it at one point to then want to come back. Because if you get that like urge to want to come back, then you know it's genuine.
Yeah.
And you do want it. Do you know what I mean? Because like I probably didn't play drums for about 6 months after college.
I guess it gives you the space to do other shit that you realise isn't as fun as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It was very organic for me. It was 6-7 months I didn't play drums. I was at my friend's house then, and he had like a practice pad on his bed or whatever and some sticks, and I started tapping it, and I was just like, oh, this is fun. And I just got the bug back, and it's like, that's when I realised like, no, I really do love this. I'm not just doing it anymore, sort of thing. But yeah, it's been, other than that little blip, it's been very, very consistent.
So what was it like then joining your first band? And who was the first band? Like, how did you go from doing the first thing to being in Oceans?
I guess if you want to go back far enough, the first band was Oceans.
Oh, really?
Because it started up in secondary school. I was in maybe year 8 or year 9. No, I was in year 8, and the other guys were in year 9. Jibs, I was a guitarist. Okay. And we started up just like a band, and it sucked so bad. Like, it had to have. but we kind of like made all the mistakes that you have to make at that age. Like we did the whole played a show as a local band and didn't realize the etiquette and probably ate loads of food or whatever. Like we were kids, we had no idea, but we made all the mistakes. And then we sort of said, it was in college actually, it was when I was in college. We said, right, let's do it properly now. We know what to do. We've been idiots, like we've got it figured out now. And that's when we changed the name to Oceans when I was in college, and we put out Clocks, and it did really, really well somehow. It kind of went from there.
Because it did really well straight away.
It kind of did. It was quite mad, that was, because it was when, what band was it? I don't think it was Asking Alexandria. It was another one. It was in that era. There was another band. What were they called? They put out like, I don't remember the band name. They put out like a song and it did super well, but we kind of got pulled into that algorithm on YouTube. Like as their video blew up, our video blew up like second hand with it. Theirs did better, but ours was on the tail end of it, sort of thing. And I think that was pretty much it. I think we just got lucky and we got caught in that stream off that video. I wish I could remember the band. You'll definitely know the band. It wasn't Asking Alexandria. It was the other one, like the budget one. It was the B-Tech Asking Alexandria. I'm gonna have to Google it after this, but yeah, I think we kind of got a bit lucky and we got caught up in that YouTube thing, and then we got approached by a smaller label, which I've forgotten the name of. Maybe it was. I think it was Artery. Maybe it wasn't a small label.
That's definitely not a small label.
No, I think it was Artery. Man, it's so long ago. Honestly,
I think that's gone though now.
I think
Has
so.
I think it has gone, but it was massive at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to look really fucking out of touch if it's still actually going and it's doing well.
But no, we got approached by a label and we sort of like did something with them.
Because they did management as well, right?
They managed. That was right. They approached us for management.
Yeah, because Archery Foundation was a massive management company.
That's it. Yeah. They hit us
15 years ago?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. And then I think we did some stuff with them. And then we kind of was like, look, we kind of wanted Fearless, if I'm honest. We really wanted Fearless Records. And it was so long ago, we did it the old school way. We actually physically mailed a CD to Fearless. But we physically mailed it to a bunch of companies, and not all of them replied. I think 2 or maybe 3 replied, but Fearless was one of them. And then the other 2 didn't make offers, and then Fearless made an offer, but that's the one that we wanted, so we couldn't believe it. And then we did Lost Stars with them, and it went from there then.
I mean, that's pretty incredible, man, to actually get an offer from Fearless. Like, it's super especially weird. That early on.
I can't remember how old I was. I was still a teenager. So it was all like end of college type for me.
So you released those. You did over 10,000 copies.
Yeah,
Was the band and the label expecting that? Either of you?
I don't know, because I've never... Maybe the label expected it because I guess they were putting their money in, so they kind of... Yeah. I guess they were expecting return. I don't think I expected it. I've always viewed myself as like the underdog, or like I've always been the youngest in the band, and I've always been, not anymore because I'm old now, but growing up I was always the youngest person on the tour.
Also the henchest.
I was back then. I was bigger because I was climbing all the time. I'm nowhere near as big now. But like, I don't know. I guess I just thought it'll do what it'll do and we'll just try. So I don't think I had an expectation. I think I was just like, let's just give it a go. I've been surprised and grateful for like anything really that we've had. It's never been expected, for sure.
How did it change things for the band then? Did it instantly just become serious?
Yeah. I don't think...
I mean, was it ever not serious?
Was it ever serious?
It's
more my question.
Serious since.
My question is more, was it ever serious? No, we've always taken it seriously musically. It's always been like we really take that side of it seriously. But at the end of the day, I play drums because it's fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and we play music because we enjoy it. And I think I've always tried to hold on to that value. I've never wanted it to be not fun. Do you know what I mean? So sure, we take the serious stuff serious, but we still want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that element changed. I think the biggest thing was like just got us on our first tour, and that changed. That was probably the turning point, if that's what you're trying to ask. Because it was like, I don't know what it's like now to get on your first tour. I've heard of terms like buy-ons and stuff, but I don't really know anything about that. But back then, we just needed tour support, really. We couldn't afford to do anything. And the label offered that, and they put us forward for this tour where it was a bus share. Our first tour was a bus share.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's mad. But obviously that was thousands. I can't remember how many thousands, but it was like thousands and thousands just for the bus alone. But they put all that up front for us to get us on our first tour, which was mad. And from that moment onwards, that changed everything, because as soon as you're in that circuit, you really are in that circuit. You see the same faces, the same people everywhere you go. It's surprisingly small. And that first tour was with Vale Mayer and Chelsea Grin, and like growing up, they were two of my favourite bands ever.
So did you ever have to do the local circuit?
Oh yeah, we didn't swerve it. We did it. We definitely did it, but I think we did that before we were called Oceans, or maybe a bit of the start of Oceans. We definitely did that. We did a tour, if you can call it a tour. It was 3 or 4 shows around the UK in our guitarist's Ford Fiesta, the band and the gear. I don't know how. We had guitars on our laps. There was 3 of us in the back with the guitars stacked on our laps, and we were playing in like, well, they weren't venues, they were pubs, and it was to people that don't want to listen to metal, if people at all. No, we definitely did the rough touring, and we did a lot of US touring as well. After that first tour, we did a lot of US touring in a van and trailer rig, which is, famously taxing on your body.
Yeah.
Man, we had some times, dude. We had some of the winter tours. We did a winter tour around, it was US and Canada, but in Canada it was so cold, to the point of like I was sleeping in the van with all my clothes and my shoes on. I couldn't take my shoes off in the van. It was way too cold. And the one night my shoes froze to the window because I slept with my feet on the window. I had to literally like chisel my shoes off. It was like pure pain, like just permanently ill. Man, it was brutal. The one night our guitarist's pillow froze. It was a memory foam pillow. And it froze.
Froze in
and
position.
He was like, look, my pillow's rock hard. And he started doing this with it, and his pillow snapped in half. Like, literally, he snapped his pillow. It was that cold.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
How many dates did you do in Canada?
Oh, I can't remember, dude. It was a good 6-7 weeks. It was a long tour, but I can't remember how many dates are in Canada. But yeah, we didn't
I remember.
I don't think anyone is lucky enough to bypass doing the graft in that sense.
I remember it being a thing that you were just constantly in the US.
Yeah, we did a lot. That was after signing to Fearless, because they're a US label.
Did you do better in the US than the UK?
Always have done, always will do. Still today.
I mean, that's pretty unusual for a UK band.
I think it is actually.
It is, man. I mean, it's a huge thing with bands wanting to break America.
Yeah,
and it being too expensive to get over there.
It is expensive. It's super expensive to tour America as a foreign act. But I don't know. It's great, but it's also not great, because I see the American bands that are big in America, and because they don't have flights, visas, renting, everything, they actually make money when they tour America. But no matter how well we did, we'd never really make money, because
how
it was
did it
just
work? Was
too
it
expensive.
Was it Fearless fronting all that?
In the early days.
How did that affect sort of the contract?
I think we had tour support, and I think there was an actual budget for that, or maybe there was a tour support per album. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember if there was just a set amount, this is your tour support, or if it was a set amount per album. I honestly can't remember. But I know that after we exhausted that, it was just on us. But I remember we still couldn't manage that, so our manager fronted stuff. But it was kind of like our manager would front costs for us, and then we'd do the tour, and then if we made any profit on the tour, it would just be chipping away, paying back him. So it was we ran on not even break even. We ran on debt for a long time,
I don't think that's uncommon. Was it Archery that was the manager then?
No. No, we moved on from them either before Fearless or around the time of when we got Fearless. I haven't thought about this stuff in so long. It's really memory lane.
Who did you move to then?
Management.
Yeah, and why?
I can't remember why. I honestly can't remember why. I really can't. We moved to a guy called Jason, who I think at the time, it might still be called Royal Division. I think it was called Royal Division then. But we was with Jason for a long time. Yeah, he did a lot. We did a lot of work with Jason, actually. He definitely pushed pretty hard to get us on a lot of tours, and he was a big driving force in the early days, for sure.
With you doing so much in the US, was that because you thought it was good for the career, or just because it was way more fun than being in the UK? Like,
I guess there's more to do. Like you can do a week in the UK,
yeah,
and that's it. You know, I see people do more than 7 shows in the UK, and it's only because they're huge and they're doing more than one night in one area, or they're just like overdoing it, and it's kind of pointless. I guess there's so much to do in America. There's so many places to play. And I think also the genre was a lot bigger in America at the time. And as well with our management being American and with our label being American, I think it just was, I guess we just was better there.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I don't know if it was a conscious decision from us. I think it's just like, these were the offers we got and we just kind of went with them.
Were you over 21 at the time?
Maybe. I can't remember, dude.
Were you partying?
I've never been a partier, really. Like I drink. I don't do any drugs. Never have.
No,
I've never smoked anything in my life. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never smoked a vape. Like,
you know what? I've never smoked a cigarette. Never tried one.
I've never tried one.
I think you're the first person I've ever spoke to that's also said that.
Yeah. Well, I had like an experience early on in life with my dad. My dad passed from cancer when I was 11. He got lung cancer when I was 10, and he smoked. Don't know if that was the reason why he got it. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But before I'd even had the chance to have a cigarette offered to me or a drug offered to me, like I was too young, I'd seen all that. So then when I was at school and people were like, oh, do you want to try this, try that? I was like, fuck no. Why would I want that? I've seen what happens. So of course I don't judge anyone.
Yeah.
You know, you see a lot on tour, but I don't judge anyone for anything they do. But personally, it's never been my thing. But I like beer.
Yeah, I've been on nights out with you, man.
Yeah, I drink beer, but I'm not like a party guy. Do you know what I mean?
This is so off topic. No one's going to give a shit. But one of the best dates I ever had was
with me.
It was with you.
What?
So I'd gone to dinner with this girl. Oh, this must be like 6-7 years ago.
Oh,
do you remember? And then
was it like an underground bar?
Yeah. So like I'd had dinner with her. It was like 6 p.m. And we'd been like, oh, let's just go for one drink because it's so early. And then you were in there, and I don't know if it was your birthday or it was somebody's birthday. And you were like, do a shot with us. And we were both like, I got work in the morning.
I only briefly remember this. So if you remember, remind me.
She had like a really sensible job where she had to be in work early. I was just like pretending to be sensible because I was like with her. So we were like, yeah, let's have one shot. And then you came back with a tray. Like there was like a dozen shots.
Was it that bar? I think it's called Bacca's.
Yes.
It was?
Yeah.
Because I've only been in that bar a couple of times and I briefly remember.
Yeah, well, it was there and it doesn't have phone signal. So
no,
like,
it's underground.
Yeah. So literally like, you brought over the shots. We got fucked. This was like 7 p.m. We ended up not leaving until it was closed, and then we went to a casino. It's the only time I've ever been to a casino.
With me?
I've been twice actually. The second time was with you. You were like, let's go to the casino. So we ended up being out till like 9 a.m.
That's absolutely amazing. I'm so glad you've refreshed that for me. So we went casino that night.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the one in Birmingham.
Yeah, it was in Birmingham. I don't know what it was.
Funny. That is so funny. Oh, hell yeah, dude. How did you get a second date?
Yes.
A third?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was a while back. It never ended up being anything, but like, it was a really good night. She was just like, man, your friend's party. And I was like,
all right, I guess I
think she had to literally like leave from mine to work the next morning in the same clothes, having not.
Savage.
Yeah, man. So,
what was her job? You say it was official?
I don't remember.
Man, that's mad funny.
To be fair, it probably wasn't even that sensible. It was just compared to mine. Like everything is.
I wish I could remember more of that.
It was a while back.
Was it my birthday, did you say?
It might have been your birthday.
Because I tend to go to the casino on my birthday, so that makes sense.
I swear the reason for the shots was it was a birthday.
Maybe. I kind of want to go back to that bar. That's a fun little bar, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good, man.
All
I've not actually been since.
All the decor.
Yeah. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, good night out, man. Back to the actual fucking topic then. So the US, I didn't know anything about this and still don't. But Joe, when he was putting together the questions for this podcast, said that you went to Palm Springs on Fearless.
Yeah.
What was the deal with that?
I don't think it was Fearless that paid for that. I don't think. Or did they?
I love that you've just got people paying for shit and you're just like, I don't know, man.
I really don't remember a lot. This was our first 2 US tours. That's what it was. So we flew out for our first US tour. That was the big long one in Canada where our shit froze. And then I think there was either like 3 weeks or 6 weeks or something. There was a gap between our next one. It was quite close.
So they needed to defrost you.
Yeah. They pretty much said you can, I think they said it's up to you. You can fly home, or maybe our manager said it's up to us. We can fly home and fly back, or for basically the same price of all those flights, because it was like 5 of us both ways.
Yeah.
They basically said for pretty much the same price, you can just get an Airbnb somewhere out here. But we couldn't do that in LA or anything because it was just, that would have been more expensive. But I guess because it was like out of season or whatever, it wasn't like holiday season. The best place we found was in Palm Springs for like either the same price or slightly cheaper. So we decided to stay and just like have it was like I think it was a bungalow, but it was like a house basically. And we had the laptop so we could write music and hang out and just whatever, meet more people at the label. I remember people from the label came out and hung with us the one night, and some of the label people came out for a barbecue the one night, and we just kind of kicked it a lot. It was cool actually.
I mean, it sounds cool as fuck. Did you feel like you'd made it?
I did. I was a bit naive because I was like, because it's all so overwhelming at that age as well. Like it really was overwhelming, and you just kind of assume that the people doing that are making great money. And I was just like, we're signed to this label. We're out I'm in America. Like I was getting sponsored by drum companies as well at this point, which was like a dream for me. And I was just like, I didn't even think about the fact that I wasn't making a penny.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I didn't make a penny over this whole thing, but I didn't consider that. I was just like, it's being built in royalties, or it's coming soon. Or like, I don't know, I was just like, I have to land on my feet because I'm doing all this stuff. I don't even know if I was thinking about money.
Yeah.
Because I was just
having the fucking best time.
I was just trying to play music. So I think I honestly, I don't really think I thought about money until COVID, to be totally honest. But yeah, I just assumed it was going to work out, but little did I know that's not the reality for everyone. I think it is the reality for maybe a very select few if they hit it real big time or get a really good contract or something up front. But I think for the majority of sort of mid-level bands that are doing that sort of touring, it is mostly break even or in debt.
Yeah, it is shocking how sort of big a band can be perceived to be without actually making anything.
Yeah.
And there's bands that are doing like still massive shows that they've all actually got day jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. I think don't get me wrong. There's the bands that do well do really well.
Yeah.
Like I know some guys that are crushing it right now, and it's super sick. It's super sick to see. But there's also a lot that aren't. And I know, I saw it all. I'd see like interviews and stuff back then, and I'd be like, yeah, well, whatever. But it is real. It really is. Yeah, I didn't really think about money till COVID, because then we lost all our tours, and I was like, what do I do now? Got no money, and now I'm like
nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that's when I started doing all the solo stuff. And
so, what's that been like? How's that changed things for you? Because that's all done pretty good as well.
That was a big turning point. That really was a big turning point, because I was thinking, like, I've done 10 years of touring, maybe ish. I don't know. I've done like about a decade of touring. I've got an audience. Like, there has to be a way to make money. Like, there has to be. I can't have done all that for other people to make money. Like, and I'd always wanted to do a solo album, and I just never had the time really, or the resource. So when COVID hit and I just had nothing to do, I was like, well, now I have the time, but I didn't have the money to do it. So I did a crowdfunder. And I guess that was kind of the test for me. It was like, if I've got an audience there, that's the point of a crowdfunder, isn't it? Like, if you have an audience there that are interested, then you'll make the money to do the project.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm always so naive with stuff, dude. I was even naive with that. I did my maths. I was like, I need about 17 grand to do this album, which I did. So I set the bar for the crowdfunder at 17,000. And
how did you work that out? What went into it?
Oh, it was, I figured out I wanted to do 10 songs. So I figured out the cost of my mix engineer, 1 song times 10. The same of our mastering engineer, 1 song times 10. Because I play drums, but I don't play guitar or bass, I had to factor in paying a guitarist and or bassist to write the songs and record the songs with me. I had to factor in studio time for me. I wanted to film it, so I had to factor in video costs. I literally planned it very accurately, actually. Then I figured out I needed about 17 grand. I was naive because the crowdfunder puts everything in the grand total. So I was watching this slider bar go up and I was like, oh my God, I'm already at 10 grand. Oh my God, I'm already at 15 grand. And when I hit 17, I was like, well, that's it. I'm doing it now. Basically, the way it worked is if you do anything under than 17 grand, everyone gets refunded. Right. And I don't do the album. But anything above 17, I do the album, sort of thing. So after I passed the 17 grand mark, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it. This is mad. But that factored in everything.
All their fees?
No, like everything. So I'd made a big chunk of that money from selling hoodies, but I hadn't made any hoodies. And it also factored in their shipping for some reason. So if you bought I can't remember, like £40 hoodie and shipping was £10, that would put £50 on the total. So I ended up doing quite well. I think I did like 30 or 35 grand on the crowdfunder, which was mad.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Yeah, it really was crazy. What was that in dollars? Maybe it was like 28,000 in pounds. 26.
Was it more US people than English people?
Dude.
It's nice having someone that's as shit as me, dude. Like, honestly.
No, I can't remember. I definitely like far surpassed my target.
Yeah.
But by the time I'd paid the fees to the crowdfunder website, which was several thousand because they have to take a cut, by the time I'd printed all the merch and shipped it out, I think merch alone came to like 20 grand. And I think I ended up, after I'd like paid for everything that I'd promised people and paid all the fees and done everything. And I didn't obviously go public with this because, well, I'll explain in a second, but I think I ended up with 9.
Fuck.
So I was like 8 grand.
Brutal, man.
I was 8 grand in the red and I had to do it now contractually because I committed to it. So I was like, fuck, I did this because I needed money. Now I'm like committed to 8 grand debt. But yeah, and I didn't want to go online and be like, oh, give me more. You've just given me loads of money. Give me more money. So I definitely didn't do that. Instead, I just drip fed a few singles, and that very, very fortunately like pulled it back because they could have dived. The singles could have done bad, but like I did a couple of singles and they did quite well. And
how did you put them out?
Literally just like DistroKid and YouTube, and then promoting on my Insta and my socials. But they did all right. And yeah, like when I say all right, considering I'm a drummer doing a solo album, you don't really expect like, at least I didn't fully expect big figures, but like a couple of my songs were on Spotify already over 1 million. And I mean,
that's amazing.
For my first songs, I was like, this is madness.
What does that equate to money?
I think actually I can probably do it. Hang on. Be right back. About £3,800
So 2 songs doing that almost got you out of
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you add on,
I mean,
YouTube.
that's fucking amazing though. 1 million fucking streams is epic.
Yeah. It's unbelievable, like actually unbelievable. Again, I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew that I had to do something in COVID. I couldn't do nothing. Yeah. And everyone was telling me DistroKid makes actually money because there's no label, it's all you. And I was like, well, I need to try, sort of thing. But I didn't know what it would actually do. But yeah, I've got myself into, funnily enough, debt doing it before it even really got started. But then I managed to pull that back before the album was out. I remember it was like maybe a month before release day for the whole album, I broke even again, which felt great because then I was like, I'm going to be releasing an album at zero.
Yeah.
So everything from here on out is profit, which is exactly what I was trying to do. So I think it did go really well. It was just shocking at first because I was like, I'd never been in debt. Like personally, I'd never been in debt. So I was like, oh my, what am I doing? felt really out of my depth. Felt incredibly scary as well.
It is scary.
Because with Oceans, it was always like, you know, you with a label and management and it's all your boys and, you know, when things go wrong or whatever, you all deal with it. But this was like my bank account and me. And it was really a lot to do. And as well, we had teams doing everything like sorting artwork and sorting videos and locations. And all of a sudden I was spending 5%, if that, of my time drumming. I was spending, and that's still me today now. I barely drum. All I do now is manage. I just like book locations for shoots and make sure everyone can be there on the same time and spend all this time like, literally I spend all my time on a computer. I barely play drums. It's super weird to think, but like when you try and do everything by yourself, it's a lot of managing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It really is.
Do you consider yourself then a professional drummer, or do you consider yourself a professional like YouTuber? Or
if I was trying to live off YouTube, I'd be homeless. I think I consider myself I guess I guess an editor. I spend most of my time just editing videos or audio or It's a hard thing to answer that is because like some of the best paying jobs I get are like nothing to do with music as well, which is weird.
Like what?
I mean, I did one for Jameson whiskey where I had to go to a party. I had to go to a party and have a cup of Jameson in my hand and smile.
that was it.
Yeah, I had to put a story post up. I had to do a story post of me holding the cup and smile. That was one of my highest paying jobs I've ever done.
That's amazing.
So like if that's what you're valuing it on, then I'm a professional me.
Story poster.
I don't know, man.
I love that you've done all these fucking tours. You've done all this big shit. And the thing that brings in the money is smiling with a cup.
Yeah. No, I've done a lot of work for like video games and stuff. They pay quite well, but that's all composition. I'd probably say I'm a composer.
That was going to be one of the next questions. Is obviously like the video game thing's pretty cool.
That's cool.
So how did that happen? And
I've just got literally one contact. I have one friend who works in video games, but
I've only got one friend.
Is it me? I have one contact. His name's Mike. He did work on like all the Guitar Heroes. That's why Oceans is on Guitar Hero.
Nice.
Like that didn't happen. Like that wouldn't have happened otherwise because we were too small back then. But I was like, Mike, put us on Guitar Hero. He's like, okay.
I need a mic.
But like, when I started doing more production stuff and more like, stuff on Pro Tools, he was like, oh, your stuff's pretty cool. Do you want to do some stuff for the games? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to. And every video game job I've had has come from Mike.
So does he send you like a spec and you have to write to
Yeah. It depends on the project, I guess. Like, so I did this one game where it had like a creative mode and they wanted just like hours of audio to keep people like immersed. So they wanted it to be like easygoing and easy listening, like nothing that's going to like be tiring to listen to. Because if you're supposed to be in creative mode for hours, you don't want to be like punished. Sort of thing. So just like easy listening and just like dreamy and creative and fun. So I just wrote like, I think they wanted 10 songs. I did like 10 lo-fi songs and they were sick. So that was the brief for that one. It was more like words brief.
Yeah.
But then I've done ones for him where he'd literally send me a song and be like, we want this song, but we can't license it. Can you do something mad similar? I'm like, I barely have words. I have like a reference track now. And I'm making a similar track to that. So yeah, the briefs are different every time, but that's super fun.
Do you do that all on your own?
Yeah. I'd say I'm a composer. if I was to put one, because all my solo stuff, like although I perform it on drums, and people see me playing the songs on drums, it takes me 3 minutes to play the song on drums. It takes me a month to write it. It takes me however many months to like figure out the artwork and do all that stuff. Like it's a huge process. So I'd say the real like tip of the iceberg is the drum, but the whole iceberg is composition. I'm going to go with.
Is all of that there because of the drumming though? Like if you stopped doing the drumming, the solo stuff, you stopped doing the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, because people only want to see me play drums. I've learned. Because like I tried to do a slightly different YouTube video, which is to my taste personally, because I like silly stuff. I did this YouTube video, I don't know if you saw it, but I cooked a steak by drumming on it.
Oh, I remember. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Like, to me, that was like a gold idea. And like, even now when I watch the video back, I'm like, this is classic. This is so funny. But that didn't do very well at all because I wasn't really drumming. And like, ultimately, I learned that people just want to see me play drums. If ever I post anything about me climbing, I lose followers.
I guess you've got a real niche that is...
I think that's what I've had to learn, because to me, it was like, oh, they're following, my page, so they're going to want to see what I do. And the odd person will be interested in cars, and they're like, oh, post more of your car stuff. And I'm like, okay. Every time I post about my cars, I lose followers. Every now and then someone will be like, oh, I see you're a rock climber, you should post more climbing stuff. I post a climb video and I lose like hundreds of followers. I'll do a story post of me climbing, and that day I'll lose 200 followers.
That's crazy, man.
Like they don't want it. And it took me a minute to realise that they just want to see me play drums. A step further, they just want to see double kick stuff. Like as long as I'm posting me playing drums with some double kick work, it'll do well. If I post anything else, it doesn't do well. But then I started to think about like, why do I follow people? Who do I follow and why do I follow them? So I follow a guy called James Dean. He's like a professional drifter. Whenever he posts anything other than drifting on his story, I don't unfollow him, but I just kind of don't care, just skip past it. But then when I see him driving, I'm like, oh, cool. So I get it.
Yeah.
But it was like hard for me to, well, not hard for me to understand. It was just like I didn't understand for a minute. I kind of thought it was more broad than that, but it isn't.
I guess the thing is like, if you know that, you can lean in on it.
And that's what I've been
you can
doing.
Exploit it like more.
The thing is, I still want to do more YouTube-y videos, because I'd spent all this time developing my Insta, and I'd spent all this time like specifically figuring out a formula which works for that, which I've got now. But I'd never actually figured out a YouTube video formula. I was just putting me playing drums on, which is fine, but that's not the YouTube I watch, and that's not the YouTube I enjoy. I enjoy like donut media and videos where they drive, but they talk about the car.
Yeah.
Or like, so I was like, I want to start doing more of that style stuff, which I've started, and that's doing well now. But now I'm like, that's specific for YouTube, though. You never put that on Insta. It's like you have to develop content per platform. But
I mean, you've got a massive Instagram following.
I don't know about massive. It's okay.
I mean, it's pretty impressive compared to most people.
Well, thank you. Thanks. But like I've been chipping away at that, like with like I said, the formula of the hand and foot split to fit the reels format, and like people like that. But you can't do that on YouTube.
Yeah. Like
you have to do custom content per platform.
How long did it take you to get that right?
I don't know, really.
I mean, how quickly did the following grow?
I don't know if it's been quick. It's been pretty gradual, because the whole time I was touring, it was slowly growing. Like that was a slow burn. But then since I started the solo stuff, that's when it accelerated a lot more.
Because I mean, I sort of remember, not that I was like tracking your following, but I do remember like back when you were doing your touring, because obviously everyone in Birmingham was very aware of it.
Really?
Because you were the only fucking band doing anything cool. So, and especially with Fearless, like
that's weird to hear for me.
Yeah, we were doing the club nights, and at the same sort of time you were doing your US tours. So
it's really weird, because I just assumed like, because we don't do well in the UK, I just assumed no one cared. So to hear you be like, yeah, everyone was aware in Birmingham, I'm like, well, I guess they?
I mean, being side to Fearless is like, I mean, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're pretty similar. I'm a bit older, but like that age group in Birmingham, everyone sort of knew who each other was. Everyone either went to UPRAWR or Subculture when that was around.
Yeah.
So there was like one band that was signed to Fearless. Like
that's so weird to hear.
It's pretty fucking cool. So like, but I remember like you all having, I don't know, like 8,000, 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
Like, because that was when UPRAWR also had about 8 or 10,000
Yeah.
followers. So we were like, oh, look, like, we've got this and they've got that. And then a couple of years later, we look and you've got like 100,000 plus. It way accelerated past your other band members and everyone else that.
Yeah, because I guess because they didn't do solo stuff,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know what the reason is for that. But like, I guess like putting such a focus on, because before as well, one thing that I've learned recently, which I find really funny, is like before I was the drummer of Oceans or I was Chris, but now I'm Chris Turner. I find that really funny. I just did some drum shows and it kept happening. Like I did this drum show in Germany a couple of weeks back, and I was introducing myself to some people backstage or whatever. And I was like, hey, yeah, I'm Chris. And it's like, oh, hey, Chris. Oh, Chris Turner. I'm like, it's like it doesn't click in their head. And people come up to me now, and it's before it was like, oh, can I have a photo? Like they probably wouldn't know my name or anything. But now people come up to me and they're like, Chris Turner, can I have a photo? I'd love to have a photo with Chris Turner. And I'm like, why is it? Why do you have to do both now? But like, that's kind of become the brand. I suppose for my solo stuff, that's the band name. So I think that the solo stuff was the turning point from like not being a nobody, but being a no-named band member to being a named musician. So I guess because the other guys didn't do that, I guess they didn't, have that, put that highlight on themselves.
Still from Oceans.
Yeah. I don't really know where the turning point was. I think it was mostly the solo stuff. But it's super cool, man. It's cool.
What's the goal then? Is YouTube YouTube's the obvious thing because you can see the metrics like the public can.
I love YouTube.
Is that the goal to keep growing on that?
Yeah. I've got 3 videos basically ready to be put out, because before I was doing like one video shoot and then releasing it because I didn't know if YouTube would do well for me. So I did this video where I got hold of the world's first double pedal, and I
saw that video.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And I like reviewed it and played it or whatever. But like I booked that venue and I booked my camera guy and I booked everything out for that day to do that video, which in hindsight, the video did great. It was a great idea, but it was like took this long to plan, then this day to film, then this many weeks to edit, then this many weeks to get it mixed by my producer. And it was this massive process for one video. And then when it did well, everyone was like, oh, when's the next video coming out? And I'm like, well, it'll be months. So on my last video shoot, I tried to do 4 in one, but I was pushing the boat with that. I just managed the 3, but I've got 3 videos now in one shoot. So when they're ready to go, they'll all be ready at the same time. I can release them like a month apart and do my next shoot. So I'm trying to get like an actual backlog now.
Have you got your like dream ideas? I saw you
I've got some
one with
silly
wanting
ideas.
to have a brain scan.
Yeah. I made progress on it this morning.
Nice.
Yeah. Some of the ideas are really silly. The thing is, when I had the really silly ideas, that was when I was like cooking steaks and stuff by drumming on them. And sadly, that didn't do anywhere near as well as I wanted because it was less drumming based. Mm-hmm. So then I went back and I did this, what was the other one? Oh, the E-kit. I did the E-kit review, which was more of a happy balance between like still a lot of drumming clips, but also talking, like the world's first double pedal one was.
Yeah.
And that did well again. So all the videos that I do now, I'm going to try and have it more of a healthy balance of there's still a lot of drumming, like actual drumming happening, but also talking and reviewing. So a lot of my really silly ideas didn't have that much drumming in. They were just like loosely related to drumming, but very silly. I had this one where I wanted to make a drum powered drift car. I wanted to my friend's got like a go-kart chassis without an engine in it. And we've rigged up this funny little thing where when I pedal my double pedal, it can spin an axle. So like the faster I double pedal, the faster the wheels spin. And we were going to put shims on the back and try and make like a kick drum powered drift car. I don't know. But like there'd be there's like no drumming in that. And I would love that, but I don't think my audience would love that. But I've got a lot of really silly ideas. I think the brain scan one will still work because I'm going to actually have to play and focus to get results that I want to see. I don't know how well that one will do, but I like the idea. I think I'll investigate it. But the 3 videos that I've just done, I really hope will do well. And I've got 2 which I want to do next, and I obviously believe they're going to do well because I'm planning them.
Yeah.
But some of the silly ones are just too silly. I wanted to do one where I just get electrocuted whilst drumming.
You should definitely do that.
Like, I don't even want to do it like in a studio though. I want to play a show and like have the show recorded, like proper audio and video, and just be getting shocked randomly to see how. So because then you can't stop. Like if I do it in like a studio setting, I'll be like, you know, that hurt. Ha, stop. TV.
Do you mean like just open wire poke, or like, you know, you can like get the pads?
240 volt. Yeah, probably the pads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot of ideas actually. I've got like a note in my phone like this of YouTube ideas, but it's like picking and choosing the ones that are actually going to be watched, because I think it's pointless otherwise.
I think that'd be good, man. Electrocuting you would be good.
It's funny. It's definitely funny. I think one thing that I like to myth bust is a lot of people like blame their gear for the reason they can't play certain things on drums, and that was the inspiration behind the world's first double pedal.
Yeah.
Because I was like, look, you should be able to pretty much play anything on anything. Like the pedal doesn't move itself, you play the pedal sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I did that almost to say like, you know, just go and play, stop making excuses sort of thing. And I think that message resonated quite well. And I think I'm going to like continue to have messages for drummers that resonate with them. I think that's the key to make them do well, but just obviously make it silly.
Yeah, that's a cool idea, man. I mean, on that,
electrocuting kind of doesn't fit
that
into
doesn't
that.
fit that well.
That's what I mean.
Good
like,
to watch.
The silly ones, I don't know what they'll do, because the steak one has no message.
Yeah,
that's all. Other than we had a lot of fun doing that, but yeah, I think as long as I can keep it related to drumming and have a serious moral, then I can still have fun around it.
I mean, there's been drummers on YouTube getting called out or been said that it's fake drumming.
Right, yeah.
Have you been criticised for that with anything?
Yeah, pretty heavily. It shocked me a lot, because I did the opposite method to like a lot of the YouTube drummers, where a lot of them started doing YouTube videos and then got a YouTube following and then got in a band and started touring. But I did the opposite. I was touring and then I got all my sponsors from touring. So like one of them being DW Drums, which is, you know, if not the biggest drum company out there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm sponsored by the big dogs. Like, you know, I'm a serious touring drummer. I'm a serious professional here. So then when I put my first video on YouTube, I thought I'd earned my stripes. I thought I'd like proven my worth by playing like this night after night around the world repeatedly. But the internet's like a different place.
Yeah.
It was like, I thought I had credibility and I had none on the internet. So people just thought like, oh, there's this new guy putting videos up. There's no way he's doing that. But then obviously like I had at least some people saying like, well, you know, I've seen him play live countless times and he actually does play this way. So I think that helped. But I just kind of like I didn't realize that I'd have to work for credibility online, because like I said, I thought I had my credibility, but I did a bit of work on it. And then I realized I just think it's like not fun. Like people didn't my following didn't care for that. It was like, it was almost just for the people that didn't believe it. And then I was like, but they don't support me anyway.
Yes, fuck them.
So I kind of just was like, I'd rather just keep playing drums and be creative. And then obviously people then started filming my drum shows and putting them online. And then people are going, oh, okay, he actually did it. And then I went to Drumeo.
What was that like then? Did you get loads of followers from that? 'Cause
a few.
That video did really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that did quite well. But like obviously like going to Drumeo, and they're very reputable. So when they're like, oh damn, he just came in and ripped these tracks out. Like, so I like, not by putting effort on it, just by continuing, it kind of ironed itself out. It wasn't that bad, I suppose, but it can't be that bad because I am playing it.
Did it bother you at the time? Was it upsetting? Or?
It bothered me at first because I was like I said, I'd really put in the graft touring a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like this, there's no way. I just kind of was like, there's no way. I've really done so many shows, but it is a different place. And as soon as I understood that, I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to carry on. But yeah. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
So what's sort of the plan going forward? Where's your personal focus? Does it affect the band? I
think it is a little now. I didn't want it to, and I didn't think it would, but I actually think it is a little bit now. Because we've had to turn down a few show offers because I was on drum shows.
Does it piss them off?
No, they're so lovely. They're the loveliest. But I felt really bad. Like we had to turn down a tour because I was on so many drum shows that month. And it's like that, I never thought that would happen. Because like literally as long as I can remember, since in college actually, I was dropping everything for the band. It was always my number one priority. Like nothing would come first over the band. So it's super, super bizarre to me. But no, they're not mad about it. But like we got offered a mini UK run at the end of this month, with like, I forget who it was with, but we got offered like a UK Europe run at the end of this month, and we couldn't do that because I'm doing a drum camp. I'm teaching drums for the week or whatever. So like it's super crazy that it is actually kind of starting to impact it, and I don't want that, but also like I've already committed to these things with I think maybe because they're last minute offers. Yeah. Like if it all gets booked up at the start of the year, then it's whatever. There's a happy balance because I still did loads with Oceans this year, but like I think with the last minute offers, when
was the A Day to Remember shows?
I think that was last year.
I think that was last year. Was it?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. But I think it's the last minute offers I'm struggling to commit to now because I am pretty busy. It's like this last month and this month are good examples. I'm pretty much day to day booked.
I mean, it was amazing you booking you for this because you read your diary to me and it was like
it's pretty much
there was 2 days.
It's borderline like back to back every day, like 7-day weeks doing something. I've had a couple of things like coming up. Like I'm literally flying to Europe for a show with Oceans. I'm literally flying back and then I'm flying straight to America for a drum show. And then it really is like day by day.
Are the drum shows paid?
The drum shows pay really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the drum shows, dude. They're like one of my favorite things to do. Because instead of being at the back of the stage, not that that's a problem, but like you have your voice because you play in, and I absolutely love shows, but maybe it's because I've done so much touring and comparatively so few drum shows. I really enjoy getting to put the drums at the front of the stage and talk to drummers and nerd out. And like, instead of just playing something that maybe most people don't even understand, it's like people can quiz you on it and you can say, actually, let me tell you. And I really enjoy the drum shows. Like, and instead of having like a 30-minute set, you'll have an hour or an hour and a half to just pure nerd out and play. So I personally really enjoy the drum shows. Yeah.
When's the next one?
It'll be the one in America.
Sick.
That's going to be interesting. I've never done that one. It's called PASIC. As far as I'm aware, it's the biggest drum festival in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I might be wrong on that. I'll have to fact check it, but it's a big one. But it's like,
are you going to try and vlog that for your YouTube?
I should really,
because that's pretty fucking badass, man. As far as drumming goes.
Yeah, it's a big show, but it's all like it's all drums. That is. So it'll be like marching band. It'll be like marimba and all the percussion, and like it's not just drum set. So it is a big drum show.
Do you use that then as an opportunity to learn more yourself?
Yeah, I love another thing I love about the drum shows is I get to because some of my favorite drummers, I don't know if he'll be watching this, but Gianluca is one of my favorite drummers ever from Italy. And like I was just watching his videos thinking, man, this guy's mad. But like I've done a bunch of drum shows with him now. And at the drum shows, every time I'm just like, show me something. And he'll show me something. But then he does the same to me. He's like, no, you show me something. I'm like, okay. And like, we just sit there and teach each other stuff. And it's so cool. It's so, so cool. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of the drum shows. Everyone is absolutely lovely. Everyone's there for the same reason. Yeah, they're dope.
That's cool, man. You're in a good position with them because I guess you can just keep that going almost indefinitely.
As long as I can play. You know, who knows what's going to happen.
As long as you don't fall off a wall.
That's it.
Crash your car.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think, the drum shows are a good thing for me. And I think that the drum camps are fun as well. I haven't done a drum camp for maybe 2 years. My last one was in Venice and I got eaten alive by mosquitoes and it was really bad. That was random though. That was a random drum camp for me. But yeah, the drum camp I'm doing in like a week, that one's in Bristol. That'll be
not as exotic.
My first one in the UK. But yeah, these kinds of things I think are really good for me. Yeah, I'm answering the longest way to answer this question. You said, what's next? More YouTube videos, because even though they don't normally make me money or they break even for me, they grow my platform a lot and then I make more money elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like the bigger my YouTube is, the more drum show offers I get.
Yeah.
The more songs I write for my YouTube, the more material I have to play at drum shows and sell drum transcriptions and whatever. Like it's bigger picture, that is. So I don't look at YouTube with like a tunnel vision, like I'm putting this money in, I need this money out. To me, that's like marketing essentially. So more YouTube videos to just develop the brand and keep doing what I'm doing with the brand. That's my plan, really.
So is YouTube then the most powerful thing for you getting yourself out there?
And Insta, yeah. Yeah, I'd say.
Nice.
YouTube's funny, man. Like it really, really confused me for a long time. I was like, I've got like over 100k on Insta. Why do at the time I only had like 20k on YouTube? I was like, why? Like, why don't they jump over? But they are different worlds.
Yeah.
It's so confusing. But then I was like, okay, what are the YouTubers that I adore? I'm like, I adore Donut Media. I adore like these channels. Whistling Diesel, I think he's hilarious. But I don't follow any of them on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, look at yourself and as an example, like you like YouTubers on YouTube and you like people on Insta, and it's weird that it doesn't cross. That's when I started saying like make custom YouTube vids for YouTube, and then YouTube's growing. But they're different worlds, and I think they're both important to push yourself on. So yeah, I'm just going to keep pushing both of them.
What advice then would you give to somebody that was just starting off?
Drumming
drumming, if they want to be the next Chris Turner.
I think you can't stop. I think that's the bottom line, because there's always going to be someone like trying to shut you down or slow you down, or there's always going to be someone to try and knock you down a peg, and you're going to have a lot of hard times. You're going to struggle for money. You're going to struggle for time. There's a lot of sacrifice, and ultimately, if you don't want it more than anything, then it's not worth it for you. And that's okay. But if you want it more than anything, then you'll just naturally keep going. I think as long as you want it that bad, then none of that stuff will matter. You'll always find time. You'll always find energy. You'll always carry on. But that is the number one thing. You just got to keep going at it.
At all aspects.
Yeah. Yeah. It do be full time. It really, really do be full time. Like I don't ever stop. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a weekend, doesn't matter if I'm out on a climbing trip, it doesn't matter where I am in the world, you're going to be doing something.
Yeah.
You know.
What would your closing thing be then if you've got something to promote?
Oh. Well, I've got a new solo song coming out I don't have a release date yet. Very soon. I sent it in for mixing yesterday and the video is done. So pretty much as soon as I get the mix back, I can upload that. So maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks. That was a really hard song. Really hard to write, really hard to play. It was just a tough challenge overall, that was. So yeah, my new solo song will be out soon. New YouTube videos will be out soon. And New Oceans, we've been working on New Oceans.
Where does that come out?
Don't know. We want to do a full album, so we're not gonna, like, we have more songs written, but we don't want to do another single and then another single and then another single. Although some people swear by that, we kind of want to get the album written and then hit hard, single, album, whatever.
Go and tour America.
Maybe, yeah. So I don't have really release dates on anything. All I can say is there is a lot of things incredibly close to being finished, further away from being finished. Doesn't matter. There's loads of things in the pipeline. If you like anything that I do, then it means the world to me, supporting me however. So yeah, come along for the journey.
Thank you, dude.
Hell yeah, man.
Appreciate you coming and talking, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you to everyone that's listened. If you want to watch us, we're on YouTube or we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Is that what it is? And everything else. So catch you next time. Thank you.